the only readily available food in nature is an animal. You can't sit and wait for the plants to grow.
Al, how did you find carnivore?
I found carnivore through the low carb uh, diet. I had used a low carb years ago in the 90s that called the Atkins diet. And but it wasn't until 2016 that I got on the low carb diet because had diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and I didn't like the treatment that went along with it, and was looking for something better to do. And I didn't take the treatment. I just continued on the low carb. I saw Jordan Peterson on what was it, Joe Rogan, and he uh, uh, said that he had lost, I think it was something around 50 pounds, and that he had an improvement in his moods and all of that type of thing. So I gave it a try. I didn't really think. I said I was almost doing it anyway, except I got rid of all of the vegetables. So ever since 2008, I had the time I was September of 2016, I was 236 pounds. And uh, on the carnivore diet, I've lost a total up to today. I've lost about 84 pounds. Okay, but I'm 5'5" on top of that, so that 80 pounds on me really doesn't look good. So um, I really enjoyed it. I've done an interview on the Sean Baker show, and the thing about it is what I like. It's a clean, simple way of losing weight without a lot of drama. It's easy to do. It's not that difficult, I don't think. Um, the only thing that might be a little difficult for me is the addiction to sugar. The whole purpose of the uh, carnivore diet is to lose weight and to uh, gain really good health. And I haven't been this healthy, and I'm 77. I still have, excuse me, I still have some heart problems. I have a chronic high blood pressure, and I've helped that. This has helped a little bit. I don't take any blood pressure meds, but I do take diuretics because in May of 2019, I went into the hospital with heart failure and my lungs were filling up with water. So that was about a year after the carnivore. I don't think it had anything to do with the carnivore, but it was a good um, it was kind of a wake up call. And the doctors have called it heart failure, and I've survived it over 5 years so far. So only 50% of the people supposedly survive after after having an incident like that. So I'm still here. So
Oh, that's great. So how have you been eating in the past few years?
I eat in the morning bacon and eggs, and then I mix it up a little bit for a little variety, and I eat eggs and bacon. And, but that's basically all I eat in the morning. Getting diarrhea every once in a while, and one week I had a real bad case of it, and somebody on the internet suggested, I think it was Dr. Berg, suggested that I use uh, uh, yogurt, Greek yogurt, just plain Greek yogurt, no, and blackberries. And so I was looking for it. Usually I don't have that problem, but for some reason I got it. And but that solved the problem. So now I eat yogurt with just the plain Greek yogurt with a few blackberries, and I'm good. And a lot of times I now on dinner time, I'll eat usually a hamburger patty and some more bacon. and that's usually all I have time. I'll fix a steak every once in a while, but I kind of like the hamburger the best. So that's all I do. It's not that much food. It's easy to do and simple to take care of.
You've been doing this for a few years, so how do people around you feel
I would
about it?
say 6 years. Well, fortunately, I'm single, so that doesn't matter. I don't have to worry about it. What does it? The people that know me, like my son, and a lot of people have noticed my weight loss, obviously, and then ask me what I do. So I go ahead and tell them to do it. And but you know how people are. Sometimes they think it's the craziest thing in the world, and it's not. It's really, it's actually it's so simple. I couldn't believe it. And sometimes I still wonder what's the catch. This happened. It was so easy. What's the catch? There's something intrinsically wrong with this or what? But no, I feel great. I feel good. And as long as I continue to feel good and my health is good, I'm going to continue to do it.
So, have you noticed any other health benefits besides what we've already talked about?
Well, my moods are better. Uh, the mental clarity is pretty good. Although I'm 77, but I understand that the this is good for dementia, and I could see, where if you started to lose, sometimes I lose the memory of something, and I'm going, oh, am I starting to get that? But I walk the dogs at the dog park uh, quite a bit, and I remember people's names. So it can't be too bad. I remember their names. And so I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed uh, the work it took. The hard part is to stay away from the sugar for me. That's the one thing that I really have to work at. And I even gave up coffee because I didn't think that the coffee was doing me any good with my high blood pressure.
So, regarding the sugar, like, so you still have cravings, and you've got to be quite strong about avoiding.
Yeah, I have to be careful, not to eat too many ice cream bars. I'll eat them once in a while, but and then I stopped drinking. See, a lot of things that I used to do that weren't any good. I stopped drinking liquor. And drink maybe once a month now. I used to have margaritas almost every night, at the store, at the restaurant. So
Do you feel that doing eating this way, whether it was Atkins before or carnivore now, do you feel that that gives you more self-control?
yes, it does. Yes, I have a lot more self control over what I eat, and but when it comes to ice cream bars and Snickers, I'm kind of a sucker for that. Those are the only two that I really have a tough time with. But other than that, but I like taking care of my own health because uh, I about 14 years ago I was diagnosed with, or they took an X-ray and they found a 2 centimeter growth on my lung, and I assumed it was lung cancer since I used to be a smoker. So one of the things that the natural people were talking about with cancer was to stay away from sugar. So yeah, so that wasn't hard for me. Once I was faced with cancer, uh, now I didn't have a biopsy, so I wouldn't let them do a biopsy. I didn't want it, but I was pretty much certain that I had it. But regardless, I just treated it like I would do it whether I had it or not. And I went on what I remember as the Atkins low carb diet. But then things went past, and uh, the X-rays came through negative, which was good. But then I kind of lost track of everything and gained weight, and I went from about 196 pounds in 2010 to 236 pounds. And that's when, you know, I decided I better do something with it. And so I've been real careful with it ever since.
And can you see yourself sticking with this permanently?
Yes, I don't see any other option, because the problem is with the kind of diets that they have. Like, let's say if you go into a restaurant, uh, I would say maybe 60% of the stuff they serve isn't really good on a carnivore diet. You have the bread, the vegetables, the potatoes, the salad, and then you get a small piece of meat. Now I'm noticing that a lot of restaurants aren't doing very well anymore, and I'm not sure if it's a carnivore diet that may be contributing to it, but I don't go to restaurants hardly at all anymore because I can't get what I need. Um, just to sit down and order it. I have to tell them, what I want, like two hamburger patties and with cheese on it, but I can do that at home. So why even bother? You know, so I'm thinking that if the restaurants started serving, they should have 5 or 6 different carnivore diet uh, entrees or something like that. That would be a good idea for them, because I think they get more business. Because a lot of us that are on the carnivore diet don't really like to eat out anymore. At least I don't.
So have you had any friends express interest in this?
Yeah, some acquaintances at the bowling alley where I went. One guy was really quite heavy, and he lost weight, and I don't know what he did, but I assume he went on a low carb type of thing. But the low carb uh, carnivore diet is the way to go. If you eat mostly meat, that's going to take the weight off a lot faster. My 84 pounds came off in a period of 6 years, and it shouldn't take that long. You could lose it faster, but I would still, going to the bar a few times a week and having a drink, and I'd eat over there, and they would make something special for me, so that was good. But I just don't even do that much anymore.
I think the point about the meat, just eating meat and the weight coming off much more quickly, I think that kind of thing and the way you feel much better in that when you're doing that really feels like this is the way we were intended to eat.
Right. We were created that way. I believe so, because the only readily available food in nature is an animal. You can't sit and wait for the plants to grow. The animals are there to uh, provide food for us, and that's the way the natural law is, or the natural order. And it just makes more sense to eat uh, the food that God gave us, and that's the meat. And I'll eat a potato every once in a while, but I really don't like to, because I'll get filled up if I go to a restaurant. But I'd rather have a steak or some maybe hard boiled eggs to go around with it, and some cheese or whatever, but not the food that they serve. And it's expensive to go to have a dinner anymore. It's $15 to $20, and by the time you put in the tip, you're talking about $25 just for one guy. And if I'm going out with a woman, I don't go out with girls anymore. I go out with women. And it's when we go out, it's like 50 to $75 just to go out. So that's too much money. I can buy a lot of
Yeah.
steak for $75.
Mm.
So yeah, so the social life is a little bit different than it was, but it's okay, because I think eating out at a restaurant is a waste of time, and that's how I got fat in the first place.
Yeah. I remember I used to live near like an Italia town kind of area of Melbourne, and I was the fattest I've ever been when I lived there because every night I'd be out, and while I was eating meat, I was also eating everything else that came with the meat, you know,
Yeah.
and it was, yeah, I
And
was
if you go
duped.
to a Mexican restaurant, they have the cheese and the chips and the dip. And how are you going to say, no, I'm not going to eat that? You know, it's right in front of you. It's kind of tough to do. But what I learned to do was to, like, if they have a carne asada, I would just ask for the meat part of the dish. Of course, it had some gravy or whatever in there, but I'd get carne asada or whatever and have them mix it in a bowl, and that was good. That was all meat. It was all meat, and they would just charge me whatever they wanted to charge me. So I just don't eat off the menu when I go out.
So, if a friend came to you for advice about how to get started doing carnivore, what advice would you give them?
Do it right away and don't look back. It's easy to do. It's easy to do, and when you start seeing the weight come off, you're going to feel better. But I know a lot of people don't want to do it for whatever reason because I think they don't want to believe that they got conned all these years for eating bad food. Because all of us really have been under the influence of doctors who are nutritionists who don't know a thing about nutrition. They think they know it, you know, but if you're wrong, you're wrong. And I think the whole medical field is wrong in their way of handling everything. The food pyramid is a joke, and the problem is that people die from eating the wrong things. You get cancer from eating too much sugar. So the carnivore diet will keep the cancer down to a minimum. So that's why that's what I have to remind myself when I start to eat sugar is that this stuff causes cancer. I don't need it. I don't want that. So the low carb carnivore diet will work to help uh, keep cancer away, and it's better to keep it away than have to fix it after it started. I was fortunate. I think I had cancer, but I couldn't prove it. But that 2 meter, it was 2 centimeter growth that was in my lung uh, left in about 3 or 4 months. It was gone.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but that was
So
before. That wasn't the carnivore diet, but that was getting rid of sugar, which is a carnivore
yeah,
diet does.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so the
So
carnivore diet would be the best way, in my opinion, or the at minimum the low carb diet, the best way to eat for the rest of your life and the rest of my life, and that's how I eat now.
so two kind of criticisms of carnivore. It's too restrictive, and it's too expensive. How would you address those?
I think it's less expensive because you're not buying all the frivolities that are in the store. You're not buying heads of lettuce. You're not buying fruits and vegetables. You go through the produce department, you can spend 20, $30 just right there. The meat, you can get hamburger. I can get hamburger meat here in town in California. I can get it for $3.99 a pound. That's not bad. In the supermarkets, it's like $4.99, $5.99, but you can get them on sale. The eggs you have to you go on. All you're buying is eggs and meat. That's all I'm buying basically for eating. Now I've got the yogurt thing because of my digestion, but I'd rather take the yogurt than the pills or their laxatives. And so overall, I think the carnivore diet is less expensive overall. Plus, that doesn't account for all the money that I saved not going to the restaurants. The restaurants Every time I went there, it was like $30. And that's just for me. If I bring a date, it's 60, $75. So no, it's a lot less expensive. It's easier to fix. To be honest, sometimes I get sick of it. I mean, I just get, tired of it, but I just work through it because I'd rather be thin and in good health than fat. I mean, 236 on a guy 5'5" is not, you know, that's not good for me. That wasn't good. I had a 44 waistline. Now it's about 31. So you go
Yeah,
from a waistline of 44 to 31. That's worth every second spent on it.
yeah, I'm just imagining, like, I'm 5'8", but 236 wouldn't look good on me either. So, yeah.
No, no, and
Um,
5'5" is that would make it worse.
so, as far as restrictive goes, you said you get sick of it. So you've kind of, in some ways it's restrictive for you, but the benefits outweigh the cons.
Yeah, I mean, not everything is perfect. You're. I spent most of my life uh, doing this. I'm 6 years. Yeah, I was 71 when I started this. So now I'm 77 and I'm feeling good and I can at least get around. I don't need to use a walker or any of that kind of stuff yet. So I'm happy. I'm happy about that. And I walk about 4 or 5 miles a day. No, no, between 3 and 4 miles a day on an average. And I feel good about that. And uh, the easiness of fixing the food, I've done it for so long. I can fix breakfast in about 10 minutes and I eat it in five, you know. And it's just I can spend more time doing other things rather than playing around with food. That's how I look at it. That's why I think it's a very simple. It's a very simple. It can be a very simple diet. Now, a lot of people would probably like to do a lot of recipes, and one day I might start, looking at carnivore recipes. But right now, I don't care about it. I just want to carry on with my life and enjoy what I got.
So Al, do you have any social media or any way people can get in contact with you?
No, I'm not the carnivore. I have my website is you were on that. It's called verydumbgovernment.blogspot.com, and that there's some criticisms of the medical industry in there, and but uh, I think with the advent of social media like what we have now, there's a lot of information that we never had, and it's almost startling. The information that we thought we knew because our parents told us or we were told at school, and the uh, the doctors are just, to me, they're horrible, and I don't want to go to one unless I have to. And when I do go to a doctor, I only try to find out what's wrong. I'm not looking for a solution. I only have one. I'm only on one medication right now, and I want to keep it that way.
So I'll link to your website below.
Okay.
Al, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
Okay, and I'm sorry the dogs got so noisy.